Awesome, everyone. Welcome. You have a surprise today. It's Emma Shapiro. I'm here hosting the Alternative Healthcare Careers live show. I'm here with Steve. He is from HelloNote. He is actually the CEO and creator of HelloNote. And we're going to be diving into how to start your business like the right way. Try to avoid burnout, try to have things be simple, and what sort of systems can we put in place so that when you're starting, you're not feeling too overwhelmed with your business. So, welcome, Steve. I'm so happy to have you on tonight.
Thank you, Emma. It's a pleasure to have you hosting. Not that I don't miss Mike, but it's good to see a new face every once in a while.
Yeah, definitely. And add new perspectives. Like, I'm very much in the startup phase. Mike is so amazing. He's got his home health agency. He is doing so much. But for me, I'm much more learning how to create my healthcare business. And so I'm really excited for today for us to sort of take a step back and talk about, how can we start this simply and without too much of like that potential to go to burnout. Because I'm going to tell you guys, running alternative healthcare careers, running a business is very exhausting. Steve knows too. It's exhausting. It's a lot of work. And so hopefully today we can highlight the most important things you want to accomplish so that you don't feel overstretched, you don't feel burnt out, and you get success quicker. So why don't we start, Steve, with maybe what are some of the top traps or some of the number one things you see that people are sort of doing that's causing them to feel burnt out, causing them to feel overwhelmed when starting a healthcare business?
Yeah, great question. Great segue into the topic. I know Mike and I had a topic. We spoke about niches, and that actually should be one of your starting points. So everyone needs to figure out what niche they want to start their business in. And believe it or not, if you don't have to have a niche right away. You can always figure out what you want to do as you go. No one can know exactly what they want to do unless you try it. But you should have some type of starting point. And one of the most common burnouts that I see and issues is choosing a wrong niche or choosing a niche that you have no interest in at all. Just because you saw somebody else do it, it's lucrative, and you decide, yes, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a ton of money doing it. And then I haven't seen many people succeed with that. And those that do, they just don't have the passion to run their business, and it's daunting and stressful on their personal life, on their business life, and it can run your business into the ground. Even if you're making money, you don't want to make money and be miserable, right? You want to love what you do, and we're therapists. So we went into this field to be a therapist, whether you're an OT, PT, speech, behavioral therapist. There's so many wellness coaches. There's so many of us that went into this field because we want to help people. So let's stick to wanting to help people, but we also have to help ourselves. And choosing a niche is really important, and isolate what you want to do. And the big burnout is just doing too much at once, not choosing the right niche that makes you happy, and your expertise. So if you don't choose something that you're knowledgeable about, how are you going to create a business on it? So, that should be your starting point. And I'm definitely a believer in following and doing what you love. And Mike and I spoke about this before, where you have to know and love what you do, because that's going to make you and your business successful. And your patients feel that, because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, if you're not, a dementia specialist and you're just doing dementia because, it pays well, yeah, your patients will feel that. Eventually, they will, and you will feel that, and you won't feel as self-accomplished as you should be. So I definitely recommend starting off with a plan.
I agree.
Plan just and it doesn't have to be a 100-page business plan. That's one other common thing I get people reaching out to me. Steve, I want to start a business. Where do I start? I just tell them, well, what type of business do you want to start? What type of population do you want to treat? Oh, and I'm not up there yet. I'm still on my business plan. So, well, don't worry about a business. You're not creating this.
Business plans are like 1970s. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. So, business plans are great as you grow and you get bigger. But remember, the awesome thing about therapists, we can build a business with just ourselves.
Yes.
And that's where you hear about business plans. That's because you need to hire people and eventually you need an exit strategy. We don't need all of that. We are therapists. We can open up a corporation. Every state you can open up, whether it's a PC, PLLC, LLC, Inc., whatever it is, you could do that with just yourself and your license. That's it. Eventually, yes, you can hire people, but you do not need to go crazy with all these, business plans and paperwork and all of that. And, if you do need anything, we have the resources that we can share and help you to get where you need to be. So just choose what you want to do. Don't worry about, all this craziness of business plan. Find what you love, what you want to do. And on top of that, make sure that this aligns with your area.
Yeah.
So, that's another big thing. I have therapists reaching out in areas where there's not a lot of population and they want to build a cash business. Not going to work that well because you just don't have the population that could either afford that, and especially if you're living in an area that's not a big city. And then I have therapists like in, for example, New York City that reach out and they want to build a Medicare-based business. And also, it doesn't work out too well because New York City, like Manhattan, speaking specifically about Manhattan, there's a lot of younger population. A lot of them are out of network. So that's where you should capitalize on. So you need to do your due diligence on market research and figure out how your niche ties in with the area that you're in, unless you want to move. So that's always an option.
I
as
love
well.
that. I love that. So here's what I recommend people do. So you're like, okay, how do I find a niche? Well, how do I know? So what I recommend is someone take a piece of paper and write 3 columns. So you have a column that is, what are your talents? What are you really good at? Whether it be, you did pole vaulting back in the day. I did pole vaulting back in the day. I could put that down. Was I a runner? Was I a rower?
Mm-hmm.
What are all my talents? What am I good at? For physical therapy, am I good at manual therapy? Am I good at treating neurology? Am I good at geriatrics? What is that? And I want you to put down in a column all the things that you're good at. Now go to another column. And what are your passions? What do you really love to do? Because out of those things that you're really good at, sometimes, maybe you're good at math, but you don't like math. And so what are you really passionate about? So say you're good at neurology, geriatrics, pediatrics, of those things, can you narrow that down? So what are you passionate about? And then the last column is exactly what Steve just talked about. Now, what's popular? What has a need? What is not being fulfilled enough that you could fit your talents and then your passions into? And that last column where it adds up all 3, and it's a passion, a talent, plus there's something missing out there, something that's not being filled. That's what you want to go after. And I know a lot of people, I get this question like, well, is it too niche? Am I being too niche? And it's okay to adapt and change. So you can start too niche and you'll figure out, I'm not getting enough patients. Well, okay, that's your answer right there. Maybe we do need to broaden it a little bit, but it's like fluid. Your business is going to be fluid. Once you satisfy demand for a certain niche, then you can go and create more niches and grow. But I think what lacks a lot is the explanation of why you need to have a niche. And so it's not only so that you can really focus on one thing and not feel overwhelmed, but it's also so that you can be known for one thing. For example, when you like think of someone, do you think of them in 10 different adjectives? You usually think of them in one adjective. And that's the same way with a business. If you do a million different things, it's going to be really hard when your friend or a coworker or a peer or a client, a patient sees something that may be a great referral for you, but because you're doing so many things, they don't really know how to verbalize that. They don't really know what to write or say. So then maybe they're not going to refer you. So you want to be the foremost expert at first in dementia, the foremost expert in treating plagiocephaly, the foremost expert in pelvic floor, and niche down even more from that. But the reason why you want to create a niche is so you don't overwhelm and you can focus on one thing because it'll help you rank and be known for, but it also helps you get more referrals because people know, oh, Emma's the ergo girl. Emma's remote ergonomics. That's what the course that I'm loving right now, as well as my utilization reviewer course. And so those are the things. Those are the things. But it gets harder the more things I add. People are like, I don't really know what she does anymore. So hopefully that maybe explains why it's so important to niche down. Because I think a lot of people are like, they hear niching and they're like, I got it, and they shut off because they've heard it so many times. But I really hope that that helps you understand that there's a purpose behind why you niche down. And it's so that when you're writing your blog, when you're writing your website, when you're writing your sales copy, it's way easier to just say pelvic floor than to say pelvic floor, home health, pediatrics, aquatics. Oh, I also do ergonomics. That gets really, really tricky. So I don't know. Was that helpful? Anyone? If that is helpful, please put it in the comments. And we'd love to know your niches too. What are you guys interested in?
Yeah, that's awesome. Well said. And I do love that you actually said business is fluid. So it's not going to be a straight road, and you can do sub niches as well.
Yes.
And it's not, if you choose the wrong niche or you feel that your niche isn't bringing referrals, it's okay. It's okay to step back, rethink, and then say, well, I'm going to add this. So yeah, it's definitely not a straight road business, and that's what a lot of therapists that reach out also, they want to build a business. That's also what they fear. They also fear of failure. And one of the things you could do to avoid failure is choosing that niche and also knowing that business is fluid. It's not something that's a straight road, and you have to know how to be dynamic. So, and it's also a skill set to adapt to, right? It's not easy to be dynamic. It's nobody likes to fail, but failure is a lot of people hear failure and that's it. They say, I'm going back to my 9 to 5, or in some sniff world, it could be like an 8 to 9 or something like that. You work all day and you just get burned out. But failure is actually a learning tool. I failed multiple times. The most successful entrepreneurs that I know have failed. Some of them are still failing. They build other businesses and they fail, and they either learn or they just know when to shift in another direction. The awesome part that I think everybody has an advantage of is a network of all of these professionals out there that can help you learn from our mistakes. So there's so many people out there that you could just reach out to. I mean, social media makes it so easy just to reach out to somebody, and reach out, whether it's to Emma, to Mike, to me, to we have Kara, Tony, everybody. There's so many people you can reach out to that have been there and they've tried something and they can offer their expertise. And me, sometimes I get questions that I don't know how to answer, and I say, hey, I link you with somebody else, and I say, hey, can you please help them out? So, and that's the awesome thing about this network, the social media network. And don't be scared to reach out. And I do have some therapists reaching out to me and say, I should have reached out to you like a year ago or something like that. And they say, well, why didn't you? Oh, I was scared. Oh, I wasn't sure of what I wanted to do. And that's fair. There's nothing wrong with that. Fear, it's not easy to say, I want to start my business. It's really not easy, because especially if you have no idea how a business operates, or you've never been in a situation where you needed to run a business and all you know is how to treat patients, it's pretty scary, because you hear all these words out there: credentialing, following the Medicare compliance, and PLLC, incorporated, employees versus contractors. All of this stuff, it doesn't sound appealing because it's not something that you know how to dissect and what you want to do. But you can reach out to somebody that already has this experience, and they'll help you out. Like with Hello Note, we have so many therapists reaching out to us at Hello Note. Whether you're a client, whether you're not a client, we'll still point you in the right direction. Because the main vision of Hello Note when we started was we wanted to see more entrepreneurs out there. We wanted to have therapists start their own practice. We wanted to ease the cost on the burden of paying too much and saying, well, this is not worth it for me to run a business. Also, Hello Note is an all-in-one system. So all those tools that you need to buy separately, you don't have to buy them separately because Hello Note ties everything together. And we try to put that all into one bundle. So you have the option or the flexibility to just have one system to do everything for you. And we train you on it. And that's, I mean, to me, that's unbeatable because before there was nothing like that. You needed to get a separate billing software. You needed to get scheduling, reminders, invoicing system, receipts, patient portal, telehealth. There's so many different modules, like I like to call modules. And Hello Note ties everything together and says, here you go. Here's everything you need. And whatever. And also we listen for feedback. So if there's something new that comes out, let us know. We love to explore new options, and we love to be innovative. So that's also important. Just having all the tools.
I think let's pause here and talk about technology, because for those of you listening, who's scared of technology, I think a lot of us are confident in our therapy skills. A lot of us are getting mentorship for the licensing, for the insurance part. And if you're not, please do. Let me quickly go to that real fast and say, I'm like the cheapest person ever. I will try to do everything I can possible. But what I'm going to tell you, after running alternative healthcare careers, there is a lot that is very challenging. There's a lot that is tricky. And I wish I would have just paid someone to do certain things. Like all the CEU approvals for my courses, hindsight, well, it's a great learning experience. I've learned a bunch. But hindsight, I really wish I would have just, gotten a service to help me with that. And so when you're getting the billing and all of that, I am just going to tell you, just pay the little bit and just have someone help you get credentialed. Don't you think, Steve? Like, just keep it. It's not that expensive either to get credentialed. Mm-hmm. What is Billing Nerds? $300?
No, cheaper than that. It's $250 for credentialing. And as you said, if you value your time, then there's no reason to try to figure everything out yourself. Again, there's nothing wrong with wanting to learn. If you have the time and you want to learn, or there's courses out there, of course, do it. Especially if you're going to hire 20 therapists and you don't want to pay for every single one, then go ahead. Learn it once and you'll know how to do it. But if you're starting off, there's really no need to try to learn something that you're never going to need to do again.
Yeah, especially on top of all the other things. And I'm not out here trying to, tout Billing Nerds and anything like that. So don't get me wrong, for those of you listening. You don't see any links below saying Billing Nerds. Mm-hmm. I'm not being trying to promote them here. I'm just trying to give you my honest advice here. And that is, there are certain moves where I wish I would have just paid someone and gotten that over, because there's so many things. When you start a new business, you literally have a pile of things on your plate. So if for $250, which maybe sounds like a lot, but that is dirt cheap. That is dirt cheap. And that's tax deductible as well.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Just do that, because that $250 actually after taxes becomes like $150, or roughly around that. Don't quote me; I'm not an accountant. Disclaimer there. But so really, just try to do certain things like that to save yourself. Honestly, that is going to save you so much headache, so much burnout, because that's the sticking point. We see it over and over again in our group. A lot of people being stuck right there. And it will make your business go faster because they know what they're doing. They put it in, bada bing, bada boom, good. So that's just a little side rant I wanted to go on about, just really, because I think that that's so important in burnout, is knowing that, because I've learned the hard lesson. And if you can get something for just a couple $100 and it's going to help expedite your business dramatically, that's like one person. So them doing that is just one client that you have to see like once or twice. It's so easy to regain that. But I think now that we've talked about just seeking help and doing some little things and pawning that off to experts, so we don't have to worry, we don't have to overwhelm, let's talk about technology here, because I think that's the third thing that I see people really get wrapped up in is the technology, the learning curve behind that. So like how helpful is HelloNote to save people like hours of work when they have that versus if they're not using an EMR system? Because I really am curious about that because I think that you know the less time you're spending trying to piece together everything and you can just bada bing bada boom, document bill done, those are more patients you can see, more clients you can see, which is going to be a dramatic return in your business and your business growth.
Absolutely. And, with what you said, time and time again, I do see therapists reaching out just to save, $50, $100 a month and try to do things more of the hard way just to save a little bit of money. And then you ask them, well, how much time did you spend to do your billing manually? And they said, okay, it took me a couple hours a week. I said, yeah, well, you could have spent a couple minutes a month to do the same thing. So it really, once you run your numbers, it really makes no sense to do things manually. And with HelloNote, yes, and what you said is true. Technology is one of those things where a lot of people fear. It's like, okay, I'd rather do my notes on paper. I'd rather submit a CMS 1500 form on paper and mail it out. There's nothing wrong with that. If you have one patient, two patients, and that's what you want to do, that's fine if you're just doing this on the side. But once you grow, and if you want to grow, if you're serious about your business, there's really no reason not to take the step into an EMR. So with HelloNote, and you asked about how much time you save. So one example with HelloNote is documentation. We have many tools within our system to help make documentation much quicker. That means pre-populated notes, Medicare compliance tools that help you know when a progress note is due, when a recertification note is due, plan of care is expiring. All this stuff is so important, and you don't want to get caught in an audit and then you don't have a plan of care signed within 30 days. So an EMR like HelloNote has the tools in place to let you know this is due. And you don't have to write it on a sticky or anything like that. So we train you on how to run this report. Yeah, and it's right there in front of you. You just have to click a few buttons, and we train you. Once again, I just want to make sure everybody knows we train you on this. We don't charge for training. So we'll help you know how to use the system at your pace. We do dedicate 3 onboarding sessions to make sure that you learn the system at your pace. Now, I've mentioned this before in other webinars where we have clients that sign up and they said, I don't want a training. We said, well, you need a training. We need to make sure that you know what you're doing. They said, no, I don't want a training. And you know what? If you're computer savvy, you don't need a training, you figure things out on your own. We don't hear from these clients. Maybe like in 6 months, we'll hear from them. Oh, how do I do this? Like a random question. And then we have clients that want 10 trainings, and there's nothing wrong with wanting more trainings. But the problem I see with a lot of therapists wanting training is that they don't take the time to actually try to learn the system. They just want a training, write things down, and then when they request another training, we say, okay, did you try to do your note, an evaluation note? And it's just like a test note, like a mock evaluation note. No, I wanted to ask you how to add a goal to the bank. Really? If you would have attempted to do an evaluation note, you would have seen, and we have videos that you can watch, you would have seen that there is a section where you can add a goal from the bank. So we do our best, and we really do our best. The HelloNote team, there's so many behind the scenes and even the user side team members that want to make sure that you're successful. And that's really our goal, because if you're successful, we're successful. We're not going to be successful if we don't provide the right training or the right tools for you. Nobody wants a bad rap. So, if we're doing something wrong, then let us know. We're going to adjust. We're going to make sure that, we accommodate you, because everybody's different. And technology to some people are scary, especially if you're just, if you've been in the workforce for years and now you're deciding to start your own business and you haven't ever had to choose an EMR, it's scary, because how do you choose the right one? Yeah. I always recommend do your demos. Do your demos, spend time. It's an investment of your time. Nobody can do that for you. This is not like credentialing where you just pay somebody and it's done. that's something that you need to do on your own because it's your business. You need to make sure that it flows the way you understand. And how is the team? How is the responsiveness? How's the support? So those are really important questions to ask. And we truly help you. We truly want to make sure you succeed. Sometimes I feel like HelloNote is also a consulting firm. We answer so many questions on how to establish a business, and we don't have to do that. We're an EMR company. We don't charge for this. So please reach out if you have any questions. We'll help you. We'll make sure that we accommodate your needs, depending what type of business you are. We'll point you in the right direction. If HelloNote is a good fit, then it's a good fit. If not, we'll tell you, hey, maybe this will be a better fit for you. So yeah. So time. Oh, and billing. You also billing. HelloNote also has a billing component where you just click a few buttons and your claim gets sent out. There's no need to do data entry on CMS 1500 forms or Mac portals or anything. You simply click search, you find the claims you want, you can batch them, they flow over to the clearinghouse, and you release them. That's
awesome. I like that because you lost me at all those form names. So clicking a button sounds a lot better to me.
And getting paid.
And getting paid. I mean, I think the important thing is, we're similar to, just allowing someone to complete your compliance is the fact that there are a lot of nuances that are vital for a healthcare business, especially when you're starting to deal with insurance, like what you talked about with the plan of care, certain time, and how to send things to get your reimbursement. There are all these nuances that are so tricky. So if you can save the headache of knowing, did I do it right? Did I not do it right? That's huge. So for example, right now, I'm paying business taxes. And so it's a huge headache. And I tried to earlier this year do my business taxes by myself. Complete disaster. Steve, you should have warned me. Come on,
right?
man.
Yeah.
It's horrible disaster. So, and I was fretting the whole year, like, I don't think I'm doing this form right. And I was filling it out and just trying to do my best, but it was very, very frustrating. And it was causing me a lot of anxiety. And I'm going to tell you, if you're in that position, that's going to lead to burnout. If you're constantly in any position, whether it be the taxes, in my situation, or billing and documentation in a healthcare business situation, that is going to lead you to not have a successful business. That's going to lead you to have burnout, and you're going to quit because having that anxiety over and over again, it just can't last. You just can't do it. And so where I'm going on this long tangent here is that if you can resolve something like that, it's so vital to your health and to your business health as well. So having, like what Steve said in HelloNote, having these ones where they remind you, you don't need to rely on stickies. They have it in their system. Same with the billing. It's just a couple clicks and you know that it's right because they've got it seamlessly integrated where it just flows. That's powerful. It really is. And you're going to see a big difference in the growth of your company, I think, when you do these little measures. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, good. This is all good points. Yeah. And again, the only reason you start a business is because you want to succeed and you want to build a caseload, right? So as I always say, it's better, your time will be better spent on marketing, getting more referrals and patients than it is on learning how to credential, how to bill, how to do all these, the things that can be done by a system,
Yes,
so,
exactly. Go out there and market. It's much more valuable than doing the stuff we're just talking about. Like, let the system do it because that's it's so dirt cheap. HelloNote has a Lite program that they are introducing. You can email Steve for it. I will post in a second his email so you know how to contact him. But they have a Lite program that is $99 a year. They're just launching it. It's coming out, and that is so amazing because it really helps a lot of people who are hesitant to start to get into technology because of costs. This is no longer a barrier because of this new Lite program. It's no longer a barrier. And so please just take that little leap and highly consider it because it is going to be transformative because marketing is where you should be. Let's take a moment here, Steve. If people want the Lite program, and we're going to dive into that at the end here in a couple minutes, but if they want it, how do they get in touch with you?
Good. So yeah, so this and the reason we are launching this Hello Note Lite program is, and it's going to be a pilot program where we're going to have a limit to how many users we sign up. Why? Because it's $99 a year, and you have a usable EMR system. So it will allow you to take that step forward to sign up with an EMR system and just start learning the basics. Yeah. It's going to have basic features for you that you don't have to worry on how to learn an EMR system, build your business, do marketing all at the same time. So at least here, you sign up and you can actually have a usable system where you can learn. And then once you get your first referral, it's not going to seem so scary.
We got a thumbs up for that one. They like it. Yes.
Good. Awesome. Yeah. And we're really trying to accommodate a lot of therapists out there that are hesitant. And that's our goal. There's so much hidden potential in all of us. And like, for example, I just had a call last week with someone that just started their business, and she couldn't figure out what she wanted to do as far as a niche. And she finally decided on, she's opening up a pediatric center. And after a failed attempt to do in-home therapy, she was trying to do geriatrics. And this is a local therapist in New York. Again, competition is high here. So it's understandable that it just didn't work out because there's no referrals, there's no business. But she went back to the basics and she loved babysitting. So she said, well, you know what? I'm going to open up a pediatrics clinic to see how that goes. And I could tell that her passion with pediatrics is much higher. The way she just, every time she has an idea of pediatrics and what she's talking about, what she's going to do, she didn't have that before. So I know she's going to be much more successful in this. So, and again, that leap forward of what you want to do, you can have all the time to think about it. But with an EMR system that you already signed up with, at least you know you got that covered. And that's such a big limitation to a lot of therapists looking to start their business. Which EMR system do I use? How am I going to learn it? And instead of having everything pile up on top of you at the same time, because once you have your first referral, you should do nothing but to please the patient, and well, yourself too. You want to make sure you do a good job, but also who referred you that patient. And that's a lot of times gets lost, because if you keep that referring source happy, where that you did a good job with the patient, they'll send you more patients, right? Assuming it's not like a word of mouth or something like that. But if a doctor sends you a patient, you want to make sure that you do a good job, because they will hear the feedback from the patient. So you shouldn't have to focus on learning EMR at that point. And that's what I see all the time too. I see people sign up to Hello Note, they don't have patients, they cancel their account, or they put their account on hold because they have no patients, which is fine. And then all of a sudden, months later, they return and they say, okay, now I need this. I need a clearinghouse enrollment, EDI enrollment. And it's like, hold on. I mean, just because they have one patient. And so wouldn't it be better if you had everything set up before? And now that you have a patient, you already, again, it's going to also make you less stressed.
Yeah.
And it's going to make you more successful in treating the patient. So that's why we're introducing the Lite program. We want to make sure you have everything set up and you get your feet wet with learning EMR and the basics. We're also going to provide a resource list. So if you need to set up a corporation, if you need credentialing, if you need a website done or marketing material, whatever it is, we're going to have a resource list for you to use from one of our, I should say, approved affiliates. So this way you know that you're in good hands. So we're really excited to launch that. So how do you sign up? How do you get more information? So the best thing is email hello@hellonote.com, and in the subject put Hello Note Lite, LITE is going to be spelled, and just say you want more information on the Hello Note Lite program. You could also message me, and we're also going to put a dedicated page on hellonote.com to give more information.
Awesome. Well, comment below if you want dibs for this, because we're talking like maybe 50. So that's not that many of these Lite program. So if you are counting your pennies, trying to start a business, a little bit anxious about all the costs, and you really want to start a business, check this out. So comment below, and we will start, you collecting all of that and getting in touch with Steve and making sure that you are on that wait list for this light program. Now, I'm so excited. I mean, it's so helpful to have great companies like yours, Steve, because it's such a burden. Like when I started, like I talked about everyone, I'm like as cheap can come. And so it's really scary, and it's a stopping point for business starting as well as business growth. And so I honestly, people, if I were to sort of quote you, now that we have the light program, what your monthly costs would be, it's really just like $10 a month for a website hosting then. Like literally it's so dirt cheap. If you have the $99 a year program, this is not even a month, this is a year, 1 year, $99. If you have that, like literally your only other cost is your website, because you don't even need to, like, a lot of email services are free for the first like 1,000 subscribers. And even then, you don't even need to quite yet have a whole big email autoresponder. You can use just a simple contact form and do one-on-one emails. So I I hope the path I'm taking this to is that your startup costs, don't be intimidated. It's going to be like very, very minimal. With all of this together, it's just going to be like $10, $20 a month, which you can afford. Just skip one latte and you're good. Starbucks is so expensive, by the way. Like I had a gift card and I went there the other day and I was like, what is this? I got this coffee and it was like $15. What?
I know, it's crazy. I know. I went to Starbucks like a month ago, and there was this guy. He's like, "What's your biggest gift card I can purchase?" And they had to go get a manager, and she came back and she said $500. And he's like, "Okay, that's gonna get me 5 lattes."
Yeah.
It's expensive. So yes, as Emma said, skip. One coffee, one latte or whatever, spice latte, whatever you have. And that's your monthly cost for your EMR. And as you grow, at that point, adding on a feature of, for example, like telehealth or billing or something like that is going to be very affordable. You're not going to have to say, "Oh my God, I can't afford this," because you're already going to have a patient. And that's really why we want this Hello Note Lite program out there. Is this way you can at least learn the system prior to having your company set up, your patients, your referral sources, your marketing done. So this way you have everything in a row, and once you're ready to actually treat patients, at that point you decide what else you need, and we'll help you get there.
I love that. And thank you for all the amazing resources that you're coming out with, and all the help. They really do a great job with their demos. It's tremendous.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It really is. It really shows. And I mean, I think it's because it's a therapist run company. Like Steve's a therapist, and so it shows. I think someone said this to me. They were like, I think therapists, and I'm including assistants in this, healthcare professionals, I should say, healthcare professionals, we like to go above and beyond. And I think that's just our soul. And so you're definitely going above and beyond with Hello Note. So I think a lot of people are like, okay, so we've covered technology, hopefully, we've covered niching. Let's cover a little bit of marketing, because I think marketing can feel overwhelming. And it's so important because if you don't have any patients, after a while, you sort of burn out from the business. You need to have some clients or some patients. And so what is your best advice for people to start getting a quick win and getting their first patient?
Yeah, marketing is a hot topic everywhere, because I've seen, and I like to use stories, like, because I hear so many different things from therapists every single day. So I like to actually give you real world perspective on what other therapists, like not like a textbook, like marketing or something. I like, because you never know what's going to work. And it's really important also to understand that you yourself are marketable. You are the face of your company. I've had a therapist reach out to me, and he was also stuck on marketing. He said he doesn't know how to get referrals. He's done door to door and this and that. And I said, well, did you try putting like a business card with your face on it or something like that? And he said no. So I said, try that. Maybe with that, you can be presentable, and you could put like a little slogan on that and see. And he's like, okay, but I have no more places to go because I went around my whole area already. And I said, that's okay, come back. And that's part of
Yeah.
marketing. And that's where a lot of people also don't get that portion, is don't be scared to go back to the same referral source, same doctor's office, neurologist clinic, or whichever center, just because you've been there already. You never know which like situations may change, and you never know, there might be somebody else there that's more willing to give you a chance to meet with a doctor. So he did that, and he actually got 2 referrals on the same day, just because of that. And honestly, I didn't even know that was going to work either, but I was just an idea. I just said, like, look, try that. And he did. He got 2 referrals on the same day, and I got to follow up with him. But I'm sure he's went to others, and I hope he has even more referrals from other sources. So a challenge for marketing is, where do I start? And that's also something that seems very overwhelming to market. Cold calling can work.
Yeah.
I've read articles that cold calling is not dead. And because we all hate to get calls that are just like telemarketers and all of that, and it's not going to have a high return, because remember, when you call an office, who's picking up the phone? It's not the doctor. It's going to be a gatekeeper that is getting tons of calls a day, and they're busy. They have their own stuff to do. They don't want to hear you out what you do. So, but it's a good way to call to see A, if the office is open, what hours they're available for you to stop by. Okay, and B, now you can generate a list on that, and then make a route for yourself, and go out to whichever areas, which based on the times the offices are open, and go stop by, introduce yourself, leave a leaflet, business cards, explain quickly what you do, and see if the doctor's available. Sometimes you're going to wait an hour to see the doctor, and then they're going to come back and say, sorry, doctor, can't see you now. You just spent a whole bunch of time. Been there. I know how it is, but it's part of marketing. There's no, if marketing was easy, everyone would be successful.
I know, right?
Yeah. Even with Hello Note, marketing is not easy. It's any business, marketing is very similar. There's no 100% return rate on marketing. It's a very low return, but it's an investment of time. So, and then once you get to the point where you're getting more referrals, at that point, if you're busy, hopefully you're busy enough treating, now you can hire somebody else to do this for you. Now you can hire somebody to go out there for you and do calls for you and so on. But you can't, I wouldn't recommend doing this until you learn what works for you, because every area is different. Manhattan, New York will be different than California, Florida, Tennessee, Jersey. Every area where you are is going to be different. So you need to learn what works in your area, and you need to market yourself. That's really what it is. And back to niches, you are the face of the business, and you don't want to trust somebody to sell a product that doesn't know your product. So you have to make sure that you go out there first, and you make an impression in the community. And once you have your name in the community, you're going to get more referrals just on that. And also, I've had plenty of, over the years, I've just had plenty of therapists that said they had such a hard time getting referrals. And after a certain point, once they were getting a little bit of name in the community, they rented out magazine ads, or they did an article in the newspaper, or they did some type of community a speaking event or something like that. All of a sudden, now they're getting referrals. It went from 0 to tens of referrals per month. And by the way, 10 referrals a month is awesome. You got to remember, it's in the therapy world, depending on what you're treating for, you could see patients anywhere between 1 to 3 times a week. And if you multiply that by how many patients are on your caseload, you'll build a full caseload with like 15 patients.
Yep.
And that's not a lot. So I always like to relay that, because sometimes people think to build a full caseload of 35 hours per week, you need 35 patients, but you don't. So if you actually break it down and you get 10 to 15 patients on your caseload at a given time, there's your full-time job that you don't have to, go and work for somebody else. So
I love that. I agree. Steve's spot on, guys. He's spot on with everything he just said. 100%. The first thing, because I do websites, I help with marketing. And the first thing is I'm like, we need to have your face on your stuff. It has to be on your website. A lot of people don't want to do that. And I'm like, no, it has to be there because there are so many things out there that a lot of people don't know what's real, what's not real. Are you a real person? The first barrier is just, are you a real person? And so at least your picture has to be on your social media and your website. But if you can go a step further and make a little video, oh my gosh, it's so powerful. It's so powerful for whatever you're doing. Make a little video, start a YouTube channel. And I'm not saying that like to have it be a whole nother thing you have to do, but start creating content where people can see you without having to really take a leap, and they can sort of watch you and they can see what kind of therapist you are. They can see that you're a real person. They can see your knowledge. And that is going to help you get so many patients. Just putting one little video on your website, on your social media, so that people can say, oh, yes, wow, yes, I agree with that. Oh, let me try this. Wow, that really helped. That stretch really helped. And so maybe I will talk to this person. This person does know their stuff. And so it's scary to do a little bit of video, but just do it. Just do just one, and it will be so much more powerful. But I agree 100%.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, also think about how your patient will feel that the person that's treating them is on the business card or the flyer or the website. It's going to go a long way that they're not feeling like they're being misled. Because there's so many clinics out there, and a lot of feedback we get even with our clinics, they don't feel that personal attention patients, right? And when you go to a clinic or patients go to a clinic that is multidisciplinary and there's a lot of therapists, they just, they might get excellent treatment. There's nothing wrong with the treatment, but they don't feel that attention. And when you start a business, the advantage that you have is that you are the face of the business. So you want to also make sure you do an amazing job. So think about how it's going to feel for the patient to say, well, the person that's treating me is the person that I actually saw when I went onto your website.
Yeah.
And you're going to feel like a superstar, because a lot of times that's what patients, like I actually had I gave a business card to a patient like a long time ago, and they were just so wowed that I had a business card. I didn't have my picture on it or anything, but they called, the patient called her, was it her, like her granddaughter or something, and they said, I have this therapist here, he actually has a business card. And I was just like, okay, yeah, awesome. It was like such a small thing that I didn't even think would make an impact, but it did. It made a huge impact. And you want your patients, you want to build that rapport with patients as well.
Definitely.
And so that's little things like that.
It really is. Yeah. And going back to what you said about referrals. So like, I know there's pressure, and we see it in social media where I got 10 clients. I have this. Who cares? Start with one and focus on one client. That's all you want. And that one client, you should treat it like your baby. You don't want more clients, actually, because a lot of you are side hustlers. If you get a bunch of clients, you won't maybe be able to handle them. And so you won't be able to have the best customer experience that you want to have, because that's the foremost goal, is not making money right off the bat. I think it's having the best customer experience, because that one client is going to forever then share your name. So understand that it's actually almost better to start small, and that it also is going to take you time to sort of feel like reap the benefits of your business. Like our business, we did a lot of we didn't monetize this group and really create a business until like sort of this year. And it's taken this whole year for really people in our courses to now be like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Like this is really helping. And so, it may not be as rewarding at first, and it's going to take some time for your business to grow. So just be patient too. I think that's another advice of mine is patience, because it's going to be frustrating at first, but then
Yeah.
once you hit that year mark, I feel like it's a year. What do you think, Steve? Sort of where like then I feel like the ball starts rolling, and then it's like the
Yeah.
steamroll where you're getting clients easier and things are smooth. That first year really sucks, but but
Yeah.
then it gets better. If that
Yeah.
does that give
Uh,
anyone hope? I don't know. Comment hope in the
no,
comments.
and I want to go back to what you said, but just to answer your question of like, how long does it take? And I do get those questions as well. Like, how long will it take to get me my first patient? Like, it's impossible to say because remember, everything also relies on you as well. So nobody is going to get out there more than you. And I understand you can have a full-time job, you have a family, you have your own recreational activities that you want to do on the weekends, but remember, being an entrepreneur, you gotta sacrifice. So whether it's cutting hours on your job or nobody wants to limit family time. But remember, if you limit family time now, next year you can have all the freedom to do more stuff with your family and take them on more vacations. And again, I'm speaking from personal experience where I have therapists that did exactly that. It was such a struggle for them to get a full-time caseload, and they were working in a assisted living or a skilled nursing or wherever it is, and they just felt like it's a farm. They just like they burned out, or it's the same thing. And I said, okay, well, when you come home, do you spend time with your family? And they said yes, but do you enjoy, or are you like you're so exhausted? Yeah, I'm so exhausted. So we'll think about it. If you start your business and you get, let's say, 10 patients, and remember, 10 patients on your own business could be the same salary that you're paying yourself as you would get that you're working even more for somebody else. And that's also what you have to keep in mind. And you have more freedom because you have more time. Now you decide, do you want to spend that time with your family, with whatever else you want to do, or spend that time more building your business and getting more patients and making more money? So that's another big thing that I try to get to some people that don't want to sacrifice right now. They say, okay, well, I like going skiing on the weekends. I'm not sacrificing that. Okay, I mean there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you enjoy, you enjoy. But I know plenty of therapists that had to sacrifice a year worth of what they love to do, and they are successful now, and they have more time to do what they want. And so, yeah, nobody's going to tell you when you're going to get your first patient. It can come, as Emma said, it can be in a year. Hopefully, it's earlier. And I've seen plenty of situations where it's much earlier than that.
It should be earlier than that. I sort of mean success after a year. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully you can totally get a patient before a year. Don't get me
yeah,
wrong there.
yeah. You can get a patient. I've had therapists that started their own business and had a patient before they even had a corporation.
Yeah.
It's really up to you. It's up to you to get out there, put your name out there, and follow either just where the marketing road takes you, or reach out to us. We'll help you. We'll give you ideas. We'll say, well, what works, what doesn't, and so on. So yeah. So as far as when you're going to get your first patient, could be day one. It could be a year, and that should and going back to what you said with competition. So you don't want to see people's posts and say, I got 10 referrals. So you mentioned that, and that was an excellent point, because I also see that too. I said, well, I saw therapists are getting 5 patients already, and I'm not. That's not a competition. Everybody's at their own pace. You can't look at somebody else's life. You don't know what they did. You don't know what sacrifices they've made. You don't know, everything is different. You don't know what area they're in. So don't look at it as competition. Get your first patient, as Emma said. Get your first patient and treat it like gold. Because typically what I see is once you have your first patient, more will follow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that should be, and I like to set goals. Like, we're therapists, we set short-term, long-term goals. Set a short-term goal where you just have one patient. That's all. You just need one patient. And you could set a long-term goal of 5 patients for the year, for example. And that's it. That could be a good goal for you, because remember, nobody knows how you're on a day-to-day. You can't sacrifice, for example, your hours in the job. You need bills to pay, right? And you can't kill yourself over that. You don't want to destroy your personal life, your family life, and so on. So, and that's what this topic is about, where we don't want you to feel overwhelmed. Start small and build as you go. There's nothing wrong with scaling. Scaling is something you're going to also need in the future for your business. So it's important to start small and grow and grow.
I love that. I agree. Like set goals, and I think that's a perfect goal is like within 2 months to get one client. And if you surpass that goal, awesome, but set obtainable goals. And then, have the year be 10 clients or 10 patients and, try to meet that. And I mean, I think that is a key is really setting these goals and keeping to them, keeping focused. Just put blinders on. All those other people on social media don't matter. Just put those blinders on and just focus on those goals and have them be something that you can accomplish. Well, Steve, I really want to get into a little bit more about the Lite plan before we go. So why don't we dive into that a little bit? And then if anyone has any questions, please put them down in the chat. If you have questions about Hello Note in general, if you have questions for Steve, if you have questions about what we just talked about starting your business without burnout, please go ahead and put them in the chat and we will answer them too. But yeah, talk a little bit about the Lite program. I'm really excited for that. And I really think it's so amazing to have this like $99 for 1 year and you're going to get access to Hello Note. And I mean, it's not all the features, people, to be 100%, transparent, but it's the features that you need. Because a lot of the features you don't need. When you don't have any clients or when you just have 1 or 2, you don't need to have every single feature. So is there anything more, Steve, you maybe want to add about that program while we wait to see if people have any questions for us?
Yeah, absolutely. So Hello Note Lite, as we mentioned, is really designed to get you that step forward with, let me start with an EMR system. Let me start learning. Let me take that leap forward where I'm really serious about my business, right? And currently and before we came up with this Lite program, yes, you had to sign up for example, like a regular monthly fee. So, and that sometimes is a limiting factor to a lot of therapists out there. Well, I'm not going to sign up because I have no patience. Fair, fine. We heard you, we listened, and here's the Hello Note Lite program, where you pay $99, you get access to Hello Note for 1 year, and it's a usable system. It's not going to have all the features because we don't want to be out of business. So we have to make some adjustments with what we offer you. But at any point when you need more features, just ask us and we'll add it. And when I say more features, it could mean an extra like $25 or $50 a month, and you have the full-fledged system. So, and we also want to make sure you succeed. As I mentioned, we're not going to offer you a program where it's not usable at all. We want to make sure that you have a system that you can learn, and you don't have that burden of learning an EMR where you can go out and get those patients, because the patients are really the gold here, right? Without patients, you have no business. You could have the best EMR system, billing is set up, everything's ready to go. If you have no patients, then there's nothing more to talk about. Same thing for referral sources. Your referral sources are just as important. You want to make sure that you're getting referrals. And the cool part about therapy is that even if you have one referral, it's still great because you could treat that patient multiple times a month. So it's not and again, depending on your niche. I don't know what you're gonna be doing, but for the most part, I see patients are being treated 2 times a week. Let's use that as an average. So it's like twice a week. That's 2, for example, that's 2 hours a week that you are spending with the patient. So those extra time that you can save already knowing the EMR and the billing side can be used for marketing to get more patients. It shouldn't be time that you have to spend on an EMR. And just going back to burnout, we also just don't want you to learn an EMR system when you have your first patient, because that's going to make you feel overwhelmed and it can affect how you treat the patient. And we don't want that. We want to make sure you provide your patient the best top care that you can, because then you are the face of the company. You're marketing yourself. So do the best you can with the patient. Let us handle the system of an EMR and billing. opening up corporations, credentialing. Let us handle that for you. But with Hello Note Lite, it is a good segue into saying, well, I'm ready to start. Let me at least get my feet wet. Let me learn how to navigate the system a little, and that's it. And if you need to, and again, it's going to have the ability to do some documentation too. It's not going to have all the features of all these compliance and everything, but you don't need that right away. There's no point to need that, to have that if you don't have the, for example, Medicare clients yet. So learn the system, and then things will be much easier, much more simplistic and seamless as you go.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Steve. Well, I appreciate everyone coming on. Please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out Hello Note. Comment if you want to get in on that Lite plan. They only have about 50 or so plans they're going to provide. So get in on that action. You can get in on the wait list by either going to hello@hellonote.com or commenting below, and we will get that over to Steve. And then don't forget to check out us at alternativehealthcarecareers.com, where we've got a bunch of really awesome courses, tutorials, everything. We try our hardest to team up with great people like Steve because we want to enable you to either be an entrepreneur or find new career routes. So there's just so many avenues. So if you are listening and you're feeling burnout, confused, frustrated, we're here for you. And, this channel, this YouTube channel, our Facebook group, our website has so much. And you can always reach out to us if you have any questions. Reach out to Steve if you have any question about Hello Note. And we will see you all in our next video. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Emma. Thanks, everyone.